Here are 5 incredibly strong strategies to help you beat chimps. First up, we have Silas's Icicles. We'll use this on a map with water where we can start with a sub and or buccaneer, as we'll be using those later. Like most strats, the early game doesn't really matter. We'll just get through the rounds however possible and try to get Silas down as early as you can. He doesn't always pair well with other early game monkeys, as most can't pop frozen balloons, but we'll upgrade our buck to a 2-2-0 so his flaming grapes can. From here, we'll get down a couple 0-1-2 ice monkeys right next to the track. This is mostly to save room for them later on, but their stalls and synergy with Silas actually add a good amount of defense. They give our buck and hero plenty of time to pop the balloons, and they'll get 2 to 3 ice fragments going every round, which does way more than I thought they did. At early levels, each ice fragment can hit up to 6 balloons, deals 1 damage, and gets 1 extra damage to frozen balloons, which we have a lot of. In the early 30s, we'll upgrade the sub to a 301 submersion support to decamo everything, with plans of making it a reactor later on for shorter cooldowns. This will let us cruise through the next few rounds, and all we need to do is prepare for round 40. You can pick up any Moab counter, but an easy route for us is upgrading the buck to a 3-2-0 destroyer and one of our ice monkeys to a 0-1-4 icicles. Not only will this ice monkey destroy the ceramics inside, but it also deals 10 damage per shot to Moab class balloons, helping out quite a bit. As is, this will crush the rounds for a while, but we're not letting off the gas. You see, at level 8, Silas gains 5% more XP for every tier 3 ice monkey on the map. So we'll get a 202 village and place as many cryo cannons as we can fit, making them all 013s. I got 7 total ice monkeys down at this point, and it was more than enough. But once we get to the 50s, we'll upgrade all of them to icicles. During this time, our damage and stalls will be off the charts. Moabs will melt in seconds, and no ceramic rush can push into us. On top of just the ice monkeys being upgraded, Silas will hit some nice power spikes during this time. Like level 5, where white balloons become less resistant to ice attacks and all freezes last longer. And level 9, where ice fragments pierce increases to 12 and their damage to frozen balloons increases to +3. This is kind of all we need until the 90s, but there are 2 things that are hard to turn down. The first is upgrading our sub to a reactor for shorter cooldowns, as this reduction affects Silas if he's on the water. And the second is getting a 250 absolute 0. Just make sure to pick up the tier 5 upgrade after Silas hits level 13 so you get 25% off, making it an incredible value. After the AZ, our only weaknesses are DDTs and the bad, but we'll have tons of money to deal with these. I got a Mad in one run and a Dark Champion in another, but something like a Carpet of Spikes would work great. And the best part is even with a slower leveling speed, Silas can hit level 20 before the game is over. Mine did on round 99, but on harder maps it'll be even earlier. Each level makes our ice monkeys better, like at level 17, ice monkeys can have up to 9 fragments at once, or level 18, where Silas's aura slows balloons by 30% and blimps by 15%. Making for a very easy endgame and a simple road to victory. Next, we have a beast handler strategy, and before you go thinking that they're complicated and boring, this one is surprisingly fun and easy. You can pick any hero and get through the early game however you want. I did this with Sada, a Dragon's Breath, and a Destroyer, but you do you. It literally doesn't matter. But after round 40, we'll get down 2 discount villages, one with jungle drums and the other with radar scanner. In the range of both, place a 400 beast handler and set it to strong. This Orca can one-shot Moabs and BFBs, making the mid-game a breeze, but we're not done yet. We're going to get 2 maxed out great whites right next to it. This means we'll get 3 300 beast handlers, merge them all together, set it to strong, and do it again, for a total of buying 6 great whites and 1 Orca. At max power, the shark can drag in Moabs, so we can now one-shot 3 blimps at a time, with one of them being a BFB, and this is cheap enough to get by round 60. Boom. Just like that, our main DPS is done. Now you can pick up some support and look forward to the endgame. I got a Relentless Glue to pair with Sada and make our fishies a bit more reliable. Honestly, no round should be a problem, but if you're paranoid like me, you can use your abilities to beat round 63. 64 is the first round that you'll get to see the power of this combo though. Our sharks will one-shot most of the Moabs and their thrashes will take care of the rest. The only thing is that the Orca's downtime makes it prone to leaking fast balloons like DDTs, so you want to pair it with a heavy cleanup tower like a Permaspike or Prince of Darkness. You can pick either one, but I prefer the Spectre. Try to get it in range of both villages and buff it with its own personal 420 Alchemist. This will lock up the back of the track, making sure nothing gets through. But while you save up for this tier 5 upgrade, round 80 will come, and here is when we'll merge our 2 great whites into the Orca. This will max out its power and let it drag ZOMGs and DDTs into the water, making the late game much easier. Even when a ton of BFBs come, like on round 82, 2, he won't have a problem as the Thrashes alone can pop a fortified one. But after buying the Permaspike, the win is basically guaranteed. I didn't get anything after this and won with over $66,000 left over, which is enough for an entire tier 5 tower and more support. But something amazing for this setup that you can add is an overclock. Buffing the Orca has a 100% uptime since it's only a tier 4 tower, and it brings its damage to the next level. But that is how to win with top path beast handlers. Next, we have Rosalia with the Comanche Commander, Apache Prime, Sky Shredder, or even the Flying Fortress. We'll get through the early game however possible, getting Rosalia down as soon as we can, shooting for the mid to late teens. The nice thing is her laser attack is great for helping with stronger Bloons like pinks and higher, making these rounds much easier. For the rest of the early game, which is to round 40, get whatever monkeys are needed to beat the rounds. You can start working on your ace or heli pilot now, but it's not needed. The nice thing is, Rosalia destroys the first Moab of the run, as all you have to do is activate her flight boost ability to make her global, and use scatter missile once it's about to break open, and they'll take care of the ceramics inside. In the 40s though, we'll want to get a 2-2-0 village for extra attack speed and camo detection, and get to work on our late game damage. You can basically pick any tier 5 ace or heli, but the most common ones are the Comanche Commander, Apache Prime, and Sky Shredder, as they are all pretty easy to save up for and combo very well with Rosalia as she makes them and all their upgrades 10% cheaper. This isn't too important for the first few tiers, but it knocks several $1,000s off some tier 4 and 5 upgrades, like the Apache Dartship and Apache Prime. If you're on an easier map, you can go straight for the tier 5 towers, but I recommend picking up a mid-game monkey that'll help cover their weaknesses. Some ideas would be an aircraft carrier, Bads, Robo-Monkey, Arcane Spike, or Glaive Ricochet, but these can get you to a Com in the early 70s, a Sky Shredder or Apache Prime in the late 70s, or even a Flying Fortress in the 80s if you're on an easy enough map. And with the money saved from Rosalia, we can pick up another tier 5 monkey to help us out. I like to upgrade our mid-game monkey so he's not left out, like making our Glaive Ricochet into a Glaive Lord or the Arcane Spike into an Archmage, but you should do whatever fits the map best. If you went with a Com or Sky Shredder, you should buy something that can handle all the super ceramics in the late 80s. If you got the Apache Prime, you'll need something that can pop DDTs and help with the bad. And if you got the Flying Fortress, you can get whatever you want and probably still win. But these, plus a little support, is more than enough to beat a game of chimps. Next, we have the double super brittle strat. I first saw this one from CHIMPS. He did it on Flooded Valley with a bunch of destroyers, but we're going to pair these with a ton of tack shooters. Like usual, get through the early rounds however possible, but play Silas down ASAP. What's nice is he can handle the early camos and leads, so we can focus elsewhere. What we will do is try to work in a tack shooter or two into our defenses, making them 203 tack sprayers. Ideally, we'll place them on a bend and below the track to get the most out of them. Then, we'll follow this up with an Ice Monkey, making it a 3-1-0 Ice Shards. This will help us out with camos, makes us very strong against group Bloons, and the orbiting fragments can pop leads. The only scary round will be 37 with the camo whites, but you can just use Silas's level 3 ability to let him pop those, get a cheap camo popper like a 032 Dart Monkey, or you can just pick up something like a Submerge and Support to decamo them. Up to you. I just used his ability, which let us afford 2 overdrives for round 40. Completely overkill as the first one broke up in the Moab and our freezes handled the insides. But now the plan is simple. Make our tack shooters OP. We'll start by giving one or both of the overdrives a Berserker Brew. This will add pierce, damage, and attack speed to them, making them much better. Then we'll buff everything with a 2-2-0 village and upgrade our Ice Monkey to an Embrittlement to get rid of our weaknesses. This sets us up nicely to save up for the tack zone, a cheap tier 5 upgrade that we can get in the late 50s or early 60s. I picked up a second 410 Ice Monkey to save its spot and give Silas a little more XP, but feel free to delay this until after getting the tack zone if you're pressed for money. These embrittlements remove lead and frozen immunities and make Bloons take +1 damage from everything for 2 seconds, which pairs great with our tack shooters as they have a ton of projectiles and attack speed, but not much damage. And we're going to get even more out of them. We'll start by upgrading our Alchemist to a 4-2-0 stronger stim, making the village a primary training, and then we'll place a bunch of overdrives right next to the track in range of the village. This adds so many projectiles to our setup that go crazy with Embrittlement's bonus damage. While placing these, Silas should hit level 13 where he gives us 25% off tier 5 Ice Monkey upgrades, so this super brittle drops from $30,000 down to just under 23k. And you know, we're making both of our Embrittles 5-2-0s. They make affected Bloons take +4 damage from all sources, soak through 7 layers instead of 4, and it can apply permafrost to blimps, on top of its attacks getting much better. Unfortunately, Super Brittles don't stack, but the consistency of having 2 is crazy. The debuff will always be active, Super Ceramics can't push through, and the orbiting ice fragments can go wild. What they can stack with though is an embrittlement, so pick up another 410 Ice Monkey for even more damage and watch your tack shooters shred the late game. I won with just this and ended with over 50 grand left over, so feel free to pick up whatever you want. Maybe some Berserker Brews, upgrading the village to a primary expertise, or just picking up a ton of support in Moab Presses and Relentless Glue. And for the final strategy, we have Fire Ninjas, a well-rounded and easy defense to pull off. Like usual, start however possible, but work towards getting Geraldo down. This shouldn't be too bad, as he only costs $810, and once you have him, he helps out quite a bit with either his shooty turrets or piles of nails. But once you have him down, we'll start working on a ninja, getting him to a 302 double shot. This will bring us to the 20s, where we'll need to prepare for leads. You can do this in a number of ways, but I recommend either getting a 100 sniper set to strong, or getting an AMD alchemist next to the ninja, as we'll be getting one of these soon anyway. But for the rest of the early game, we'll want to prepare for the Moab. So make your ninja a 402 Bloon Jitsu, and buff it with a 300 Berserker Brew. This will give us plenty of time to get another tower down. My personal favorite is a 032 Dragon's Breath, but you could get something like a 320 Buccaneer instead. Unfortunately, I was just short on cash for this upgrade, so I spent $62 to level up Geraldo and unlock his spicy potion, which is just a temporary Dragon's Breath, and I used his glue on the ceramics inside, though that was a bit overkill. From here, we'll want to set up a bunch of Shinobi Ninjas. To save some money, we'll get a discount village, make this thing a 202, and get ready to cram as many ninjas in its radius as possible. Ideally, this will hit everything, but don't worry if a few monkeys are left out. Like my wizard was just outside its range, but I still upgraded it to a Dragon's Breath in the 40s. Now, it's time to make a bunch of 031 ninjas. When first placing them, try to get as many near your Bloon Jitsu as possible. This extra attack speed and pierce will let it carry the mid game while we prepare for something bigger. When you run out of discounted spots that can reach the Bloon Jitsu though, don't worry about it. Just keep placing Shinobis in discount range. This will bring us to the 60s, where a couple important things happen. The first is Geraldo will unlock his pet rabbits, and if you're on top of it, you can place all 4 down before round 63, which will help out a ton. If you're like me and didn't get them right away, just buy a couple of them and do something else for 63. We'll find the ninja with the most Shinobi stacks and give it a spicy potion. This fire spirit will inherit the Shinobi buffs, making it much stronger than normal, and the ceramics won't stand a chance. But if you want a little more help, you can always put a tube of Geraldo's glue on the track to slow down the waves like I did. Next, we'll finish the rabbit and get down a few more Shinobis. I got 18 of them down, but you can just go until you fill out the village's range. One little tip is to look out for Geraldo hitting level 13, where he unlocks his upgraded turrets. These are an insane value, so buy them whenever they're in stock and put them at the back of the track. A group of these is great for cleaning up super ceramics in the late game. Anyway, once you have about 20 Shinobis, we'll upgrade one of them to a Grand Saboteur. While saving up, feel free to put down another spicy potion to make the late 70s and early 80s easier. This will be long enough, as the Grand Sabo is one of the cheapest tier 5 upgrades, coming in at only $23,760, but it makes our defenses much stronger. Not only does its ability slow Bloons by 50% and make every blimp that spawns during it have 25% less health, it also buffs every ninja on screen, increasing their range by 10 units and their Moab class damage by +2. And you guessed it, the fire spirits get this too. So use the Grand Sabo's ability and see what ninjas have the most Shinobi buffs on them and what number that is. The goal is to get 6 to 8 of them to the max of 20 Shinobi stacks. So go around placing more 031 ninjas until this is the case. While doing this, watch for Geraldo to hit level 16. This is when his spicy potions jump to lasting 10 rounds instead of 5, and we'll buy all 3 of them when this happens. It should be in the early 80s. These will absolutely carry. Just know that our ninjas can't pop DDTs, only the fire spirits can. So I like to use the ability on round 90 just to be safe. The nice thing is, if we beat a round while the sabotage is active, the next round's blimps will spawn with less health, making the start of the round easier. Then, on round 91, we'll place as many fire spirits as possible. From here on out, they'll last the rest of the game, so place them on Shinobis that have the most stacks and watch the flamethrowers go crazy. And the rest of the game is up to you. You'll have a lot of money to spend, but what's nice about this setup is there are a ton of things you can buy to make it better. I like to upgrade all the ninjas to have caltrops because of how strong they are when buffed by Shinobis. Continue to place turrets at the back of the track. Buy 3 more spicy potions when Geraldo hits level 20 and restocks his entire shop. You can get rejuvenation potions to always have the Grand Sabo's ability ready, and basically everything in his shop will make the rounds easier. But something I do every time is buy genies on rounds 96 and 98 to help out with the insane number of blimps that come our way. And with that, the Fire Ninjas should easily get you the win even on incredibly difficult maps. But that was 5 super strong strategies in BTD6. If you want 5 more, click this video right here.